Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my first official live. I know it's been a long time coming and I've been promising it. And I just fell in love with House of Kardashian. So I want to talk to all of y'all about it. But this man needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway.
Please
My
do.
good friend, Zack Peter. No
What?
filter.
No filter with Zack Peter. Josh is. Well, actually, I don't think you've ever been on the podcast.
I
You've only been
haven't.
on the YouTube channel. You've
Yeah.
not upgraded it to like a full podcast level yet.
No, I guess not.
But I mean, you must be doing something right because I'm keeping you around
Yeah,
for now.
well, thank you. I appreciate
We
that.
do Salt Lake City recaps on my YouTube channel every Wednesday.
Yes.
So
We try to do it at 7 p.m., but sometimes Zach locks himself out of the apartment and we can't get in.
One time that happened. It's usually because Josh is running late.
No. You're so full of it. All right. So should we just dive into it right now?
Yes.
All right.
So this is the new House of Kardashian's Peacock documentary.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. The new Peacock documentary. And I'm just going to tell you straight up that I wouldn't say that I haven't been a fan of the Kardashians,
He hated
but
them.
I did not hate them. Hate's a very strong word. I did think that they were overrated, and I always like really resisted anything to do with them. But I just had a friend come over this past weekend, or no, last weekend for the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My friend Kelly came over.
Hi, Kelly.
And so she started watching, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And y'all, I gotta tell you that it completely changed my mind on the Kardashians. And I think that there is something to be said about the force that is Kris Jenner.
I have thoughts. I have feelings. So I'm a Kardashian aficionado. I've watched since season 1 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I have a lot of thoughts about this documentary.
Okay, great. Well, what are your first initial thoughts?
It was good. I liked part 1 and part 2. I was not a fan of part 3, and I just feel like they left so much out of the documentary. We'll get into it as we like recap it more, but it was good. It was a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I think that not everyone, but a lot of people that were in this documentary were almost trying to kind of like smear the Kardashians, but in the end, it only made me like really intrigued to get to know them. So,
and now you started watching the show.
And now I started watching the show. Yeah, very. Zach has told me that the new series that they have on Hulu is much different than the one that we've been watching on Peacock. The original Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So I'm looking forward to keep pushing through it and seeing how their lives kind of unfold. I did not realize when I saw that they had 20 seasons. I was like, there's no way they've been on for 20 years until Zach told me they do two seasons a year. So,
Mallory in the live chat. You have to pay attention to the live chat.
Sorry.
Okay, Mallory in the live chat says she just started Keeping Up with the Kardashians again, and it's so good. I just had him start watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. We watched Khloe's wedding special.
Yeah.
And we watched Being Bruce when Bruce became Caitlyn. That whole transition episode, because I just felt like those were two. I was like, you have to know about like Khloe and Lamar getting married in 9 days. Huge. He's gonna have to learn about Kim's fairy tale wedding with Chris Humphries. Like, there's a whole lot that we're gonna have to dive into with Kardashians. So just know that his lens of this documentary is very shallow.
That's fair, because I don't know anything about them other than what I've seen on social media or in the regular media. So I am looking forward to kind of getting to know them more and not having such a fussy view of them like I did for many years. Oh my God, I love the transition episode from Bruce to Caitlyn. Bruce didn't transition into Caitlyn during that special that you showed me yesterday, right?
No, I guess he did. That was kind of like the issue. That's how much he was paying attention. That was kind of the issue that Khloe had with him is Bruce was like, I'm not fully transitioning. I'm thinking about this. But then they're like, but you're having these secret surgeries where you're getting your Adam's apple removed and you're getting, a nose job, and you're not telling us about these things. And we're finding out about it in the press. And so, no, it wasn't a technical, no, Bruce was still Bruce in that before she became Caitlyn. But I just loved that 2-part special because it was so raw. Like the Kardashians
Yeah.
really did have big raw, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It made me cry just seeing how affected the kids were by this
Yeah.
entire thing. Um, I and you have to commend them for actually putting those very intimate details of their lives out there. So
Yes. See, we have a lot of true Kardashian fans
yeah,
alive.
I've watched the most recent season on Hulu. I watched all of the original. Well, I'm in process right now. So
We're just getting introduced.
yes,
We just fit the tip
even on
thus
my
far.
channel.
I'm still gonna be me. I'm always gonna be me.
Oh my god. All right. So, if we're talking about the show, House of Kardashian,
Mhm.
scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 even though I know that like some of these people were really just trying to disparage their name and everything. And again, it just made me more intrigued and really just admire their tenacity and everything that they have gone through and they have built this incredible thing. So, 8 out of 10 for me. How about you?
Um, I'm going to give it a 6.5, maybe a 7.
Okay.
Only because I really liked part 1 and part 2, but again, there was so much that was left out, and just some of the people that they chose to go with,
Mhm.
like, I didn't love the manager dude that, like, wore sunglasses the entire time, which, to be fair, I wear
Oh
sunglasses
god.
a lot, but it's for a vibe, or
Yeah.
it's for the outfit, and, like, he was just
I think
douche.
that was his goal too.
But
It was a
it
douchey
didn't
it was a
yeah,
douchey vibe for sure.
it was a douche vibe. Oh, look at Brittany brought up a good one.
Isn't it weird that Travis literally wrote in his book about Kim and now is married to Courtney? That's why the animosity is there between them.
I'm telling you, you have so much to catch up on. So Travis Barker and Kim Kardashian used to bone, and now
Okay.
he's married to Courtney.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of backstory that I do not know. But at the end of the day, I'm still like I'm ready to start trudging along and learning more about their lives.
For those of you guys that did watch House of Kardashians, scale of 1 to 10, let us know what you guys would rank it and like what your favorite or least favorite parts of it were. Ray J's manager.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Zach,
was
that
his name?
manager's sunglasses dude wore the sunglasses on Juicy Scoop. Oh, yeah, he was just on Juicy Scoop.
Was he?
Yeah.
For what? For this?
Yeah, to talk
Oh,
about
okay.
this because him and Heather McDonald were both in it.
Yeah. Heather McDonald did great as well. I mean,
Yeah,
she
Heather
was one
killed
of
it.
those like she didn't
They
talk.
needed more of her though.
Yeah, they did. She didn't speak ill of them or anything like that. Her facts were just very straightforward, and I also just love Heather McDonald.
She
So
used to be really close to them, and then eventually they cut her off the Christmas
that
invite list.
that's right. That's what you told me. You didn't tell me about the Christmas invite list. You just told me that
Yeah, they have a big Christmas party every year, and one of the episodes on Keeping Up with the Kardashians is when Kim was like, "We need to cut this list because some of Mom's friends aren't even really our friends anymore." And then Heather McDonald and her family got cut.
All right. Well, there you have that. All right, so let's talk now about the first episode. So the first episode was actually my favorite. It talked about Kris. She went from this donut shop girl to leading the most powerful female dynasty in history, which I mean, you got to give that woman props for that because she created something out of nothing. And I really am just so intrigued by the way that Chris's mind works. Um, yes, the first episode was the best about Kris. Very intriguing to learn the backstory. Yes, exactly.
I will say that as a Kardashian like fan, I think part 1 was my favorite because it had the most of the details that we didn't really get. You know, we
Mhm.
got Chris's backstory, we got the
Yeah,
marriage to Robert Kardashian, we got the cheating scandal and the
yeah,
affair.
yeah. I think that was a very raw moment for Kris when she talked about the cheating scandal, and she admitted, she was very honest. She said, "I know that I made a mistake, and I screwed everything up." And to say that instead of trying to say, like who Joan, the woman from the beginning
Oh,
that
Joan.
I love her. But she was like, listen, she must not have been getting taken care of at home. Instead of going that narrative, Kris said, nope, I messed up. And it was really a huge mistake.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that they touch on in the documentary that it doesn't really, I guess we've never really thought about, is there was such an age gap. She was much younger than
Yeah,
Robert,
12 years,
and
right?
she was a stewardess.
Yeah.
And, he was just like this very rich, powerful older man
Yeah.
that, you can tell that there was a difference of power dynamic. And, she was always somebody that I think was always very savvy.
Yeah.
And she had a strong work ethic. And I don't think she was comfortable just being the housewife. And I think it was Joan in that documentary who talked about how a lot of the other young wives were screwing their tennis instructors, which is what
Yeah.
Kris did, until he, but I'd forgotten that he had like hired a private investigator to
Yeah.
follow her, and he got evidence on it, and then he was just done. And it's interesting because the most recent episode of the Kardashians on Hulu, which I watched this morning, they talk about this a little bit with their cousin Cece, who I didn't realize is related to Robert Kardashian. But during that split, Cece chose to befriend Kris and not cut her off, whereas the family wanted to completely cut Kris off and not have her have any connection to the Kardashians because they were like, she ruined the Kardashian empire or something about she ruined the Kardashian name.
Yeah.
And I was like, if only they knew then what Kris Jenner would do for the Kardashian name and the legacy of the Kardashians.
Yeah. No, that's now I got to go watch that. I'm trying to go in chronological order here. But yeah, I think also what was so interesting about this this first episode was how they talked about Kris pretty much single-handedly reinvigorating Bruce's career. And like they said that when she walked into the room, you would have thought she was negotiating for the biggest star in Hollywood. And I think that again, I just want to know how this woman's mind works, because how can you revive a career that seemed honestly just dead in the water?
Well, I mean, it just goes to show her great marketing skills, because when you're in negotiations, you have to really sell up the person, that you're trying to pitch. And I think she was able to do that with him. She was like, he was in the Olympics and he was this. And it's really about how you sell that person. But I mean, it just goes to show you that it's not so much about what you've done or what you've accomplished, but how you present yourself. And I think Kris Jenner did have that art of negotiating. I did watch her masterclass. It wasn't groundbreaking. I wish we would have gotten more of those negotiation skills.
Well, she's not gonna give away her secret sauce.
I mean, I guess not.
Let's see. I never thought that she cheated with Bruce. I didn't even, honest to God, I didn't even know about the 24-year-old tennis instructor. So that was news to me. Let's see. Did they plan that episode coming out with Cece for when this House of Kardashians released?
I'm curious if they had a hand, and I think we talked about this.
We talked about this
about whether or not they had a hand in this documentary. I don't think they did. I actually think maybe Caitlyn had a hand in this documentary.
I definitely think it was
so much fucking Caitlyn in it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cuss on your channel. Sorry, I can't help it.
I'm not surprised.
But I feel like Caitlyn. When we had that conversation, I think it was before we watched part 3. That's where I was like, did they have a hand in it? But I mean, they had to have known that this was coming out.
Right, for sure.
I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the CC interview that Khloe, because in the new episode of the Kardashians, Khloe sits down with their cousin CC and talks about their dad and their dad's family. So people are asking if that was coincidental or intentional. I think there was probably some intent behind it.
Maybe. I just want to know where they got all these sound bites of Kris if she wasn't actively a part of it.
It was archived from, I think, when she did her book promotions or when she was promoting. They were archived interviews that were owned by, I think, like NBC that they were.
Got it.
They did the same thing.
Yeah.
Came in part 2.
Oh, right. Yes, you're welcome for finally doing something with my channel. I've been trying to figure out how to really get into it, but I'm telling y'all, this documentary just captivated me so much that I I just wanted to talk about it. Do we think Chloe may be OJ's daughter? I don't know about that. You want to talk about a curveball? Good Lord.
That's been a rumor that's been going around for so long that people think that Chloe is OJ's daughter.
You know what? I want to say that I had heard about that once upon a time, but again, like I was never really truly invested in them. So, went in one ear and out the other. I think she really believed in Bruce like she did with Kim and her other kids. Yeah. Yeah. I think that I would 100% agree with that. Um, she saw the potential and she shoved him into that limelight. Oh, thank you, Miss Diamond. I thought after watching episode 1 that maybe that was a marketing scheme for Kris, but it went really wrong when he did what he did. Wait, who?
I thought after watching episode 1 that maybe that was a marketing scheme for Kris, but it went really wrong when he did what he did. OJ? I mean, not OG. Are you talking about Robert Kardashian or are you talking about Bruce?
Yeah, gonna need a little clarification on
Yeah,
that
a
one.
little clarification. Oh, Gossip Class says OJ. That was a marketing scheme for using
using the trial.
that was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
alluded in the documentary that her and Bruce, when they would do interviews and talk about the case, that was part of a marketing strategy. I
Yeah.
disagree with that only because she was so close to Nicole and she was so embedded in
Right.
OJ's life that I think she would have been part of it regardless. I don't think she intentionally used Faye Resnick, the morally corrupt Faye Resnick, was the one that wrote a book and posed for Playboy at that time. So I feel like Faye definitely capitalized off of the scandal. I don't think Kris did because there wasn't much more. I think they capitalized off of Robert Kardashian's name once Kim started to become more famous. But
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. But no, I feel like you could see just in Chris's face that that was truly one of her best friends, and it wasn't. I don't think she was being insidious with maybe how it just so happened to parlay into their more exposure.
yeah. Anything else about part 1?
Um,
Or do you want to move into part 2?
I think we could move into part 2. I mean, I will just say that I loved how Kris. Just my final thought on the whole her becoming Bruce's manager thing. She said, "Nope, your manager's not working. He's out of here." And she just went in and took control over everything. And I also liked how Caitlyn said that that Bruce would open a door, then Kris would walk through that door and handle business. So
I also love how, because she didn't intentionally want to be in front of the camera or be famous. She was fine managing Bruce. And it wasn't until the rumors started and the rumors started to come out
wrong show.
about Bruce potentially being gay or about his cross-dressing. And that's when she's like, okay, marketing brain on.
Yep.
Now we're a power couple and
Yep.
nobody's going to be talking about that because we have clear chemistry and you can tell that he wants to bone me in a dress.
Zack, come on. All right, let's move on to the second episode, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. So I will just say that it was enjoyable for me watching Kim and like hearing about how she had these aspirations all her life to become a reality star. And you saw those little video clips of her and she's like, one day when I'm famous. And she did it. She's probably one of the most famous women in the entire world. I don't think how many countries did they say that their show was broadcast in? 129?
I thought it was like 140. How many countries are in the world? I don't know the answer to that question. We should ask Surrey.
Okay, well, he actually said yesterday, are there even 129
I mean,
countries in the
obviously
world?
there are, but like,
Oh my God.
I am blonde.
Wait, hold on. Yes, cute hoodie, Zack.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
part of his new merch line.
Zack Pack hoodies. And I also have some fun t-shirts. One that says ruthless, not toothless.
And
one that says find me at Jason's. But can you explain Jason's?
all right, so Jason's is Zack's liquor store that he frequents.
Yes, it's my favorite liquor store. It's the
Uh-huh.
go-to liquor store in downtown LA.
Yes.
And I go there very often. And the cashier there is very shady to me and judges my life every time I go in. And you've gotten the
That
privilege of going to
the one
Jason.
the other day?
No, I like him. He's nice. He gives me
Oh,
free alcohol.
yeah. All right. And the dogs get free treats. So
Yes, I had to blow him one time, but now I always get free alcohol. Kidding,
Zach.
kidding. Sorry, mama.
God. I did not tell my mother I was doing this because I knew your mouth would be too damn bad. Thank you, Mallory. This, I always got to wear some of my Louisiana merch. I should have worn my Find Me at Jason's shirt was dirty, so I couldn't wear that. But
I was like, how is it dirty? It's a liquor store, but it was dirty. You wore it last night.
yes. All right. So, are we going into
Part two?
part 2?
You're talking about Kim.
Yeah.
Kim
All
becoming
right.
famous.
Yes. Her aspirations and how she really made it happen. And listen, I know that there's a lot of speculation out there about whether she was behind the leak of the videotape or not. Listen, if that's what helped them get to where they are today, I mean, I don't judge them.
What do you believe?
I'm not going to go and do a sex tape myself, but I don't know.
What do you believe?
I don't know. I don't believe that they leaked it themselves. And I know that I'm going to get hate for that, but I don't believe that.
I thought the interesting thing, so we have Joe Francis in the documentary, which
Oh,
he had no idea who Joe Francis. I was like, how do
Ugh.
you not know Joe Francis? Girls Gone Wild. Woo, woo, woo.
Okay, I don't think that I know what Girls Gone Wild is. If you think that I'm gonna know the ins and outs of it and who created it, sorely mistaken. I could give a shit less. But I just have to comment that he was so nasty.
So rude.
So nasty and so rude. But talking about how, oh yeah, I love what Girls Gone Wild did for the world because now women don't have pubic hair, which I thought was appalling. But you know what? At the end of the day, I should not have expected anything more or less from that man.
Yeah, it was also interesting to hear how he says that he still has a really good relationship with the Kardashians, but I'm like, why would you be doing this interview if you have a good I don't know. He's cringe and weird. But so it gets I think he's the one that reveals it that Kris didn't have a hand in the leaking of the sex tape, that it was actually Kim and Ray J that are the ones that took it to Vivid and sold it, and that Kris had no part in it, which is also interesting because Kim, in her recent interviews after building, Skims and her new skin line and all of that, she talks about how she was kind of one of that Kris often gets the credit for making the family famous and bringing the show to life, but Kim kind of feels like she's the one that made the Kardashians the Kardashians. And I think maybe both are true. I think Kris is a great negotiator, but Kim is a smart businesswoman and she's a smart marketer.
Right. I definitely think that it's a little 50-50, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had the sex tape, and still to this day, there's all the speculation about whether they leaked it or not. But yeah, I think that just what Kim built out of that, I mean, good for her. I mean, it was a little weird seeing the whole Playboy thing and her not wanting to be naked when you're pretty much already all out there at this point. So I don't understand why that was an issue, but
she struggled with that a lot because she was like, I don't want to just be known for taking my clothes off. She wanted people to know that she was more than just, that. Which I get, but listen, she capitalized off of the moment, whether it was leaked intentionally or not. I mean, obviously she signed the rights over.
Right.
So my thoughts are maybe, I don't know. I think the more we start to hear pieces of the story, the more I start to think that maybe she did have a hand in intentionally. My impression was that they got a hold of the tape, maybe through Ray J, and then they were like, listen, it's gonna come out regardless, like Paris. At this point, at least make something off of it. She claims though that she's not made a single penny off of that sex tape.
And listen, I'm always going to be the optimist and give people the benefit of the doubt. So I don't know. I still kind of stand by unless it gets fully. Oh, Thank you for supporting Louisiana, Zach. He didn't have a choice. I didn't have another mug. But yeah, so I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt, unless one day it comes out and it's like, yes, she admitted that she leaked that sex tape.
Yes. Aaron D says, remember, guys, hit the like button. If you're watching this, hit the like button.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Wait, there was another one that I saw up here that I wanted to. What about Kanye getting the tape back though? That didn't make sense. They didn't talk about that in House of Kardashian, did they?
No.
And
So
I've actually never heard about that until just now.
that's the new Kardashian. So the new show opens, I think it's the first episode, opens with Ray J's manager. Oh, it must have been this douche lord that sorry.
No. I'm not mad at you. I just don't like him.
So that's how the Kardashians on Hulu, the new show, opens up at the first episode, is that guy is trying to shop around and sell unused footage from the original sex tape. He's like, I have additional tapes that were not released and we're threatening to release them. And so what Kanye does is he ends up going to this manager and getting all of the original hard drives that the tape was originally on and buying it back from the guy and taking all the hard drives. And so in the premiere, Kanye delivers a bag with all the computers and hard drives that had the footage that he was threatening to leak.
No shit.
Yeah. She claims that it wasn't anything bad when they saw it. It was more of just like them like kissing because when they were in Mexico. So she's like, it wasn't anything bad, but it was just the fact that they were weaponizing it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and listen, if any of y'all have not watched this documentary yet, please go and do so now, because this shithead he was almost as bad as Joe Francis.
Yeah.
Who I could not stand.
Yes. And Deb makes a good point because this was always my understanding of how the sex tape got out.
I thought the issues with the tape was that clips would have been released either way. So basically, they cut a deal and sold the rights.
That's what I thought. And I was just like, it was convenient that she also became famous. Like, it was one of those things like, all right, I can cut a deal. And at least, Paris got famous off of her sex tape that it's, I don't think they filmed it with the intention of selling it. I think they filmed it
which is exactly what this documentary tries to lead you to believe, is that it was that Kim and Ray J were like plotting to leak it for this purpose, saying that, they do it, it's going to be 1 billion times bigger, all that stuff. So,
yes. Aaron D's giving Zack Pack members a shout out, saying to let everybody know that Josh is live so that they can come and watch you because they've been anxiously awaiting you to go live.
I'm so sorry that I kept y'all waiting for so long, but I'm here now.
Okay, part 3.
All right, part 3. So it was really interesting how they broke the 3 episodes up. First episode was Kris, momager, like queen of the empire, or Empress,
yeah.
Empress of the empire.
People are referring Kris Jenner to Big Kathy. Do you know Big Kathy?
No, who's Big Kathy?
Big Kathy is Kathy, Kyle, and Kim's mom.
The
Richard sisters.
Gotcha. Yeah.
She was very much momager and like tried to pimp them out, but in a different way. It was more of like how to find and marry rich men in order to make sure you're always taken care of.
Gotcha. Well, listen, I'm 100% always a Kathy stan, so.
I like Kathy.
Don't be a bitch. Not on my channel.
I like Kathy. I like her when she's stomping on her sunglasses and banging on the walls.
Stop it. No.
I'm kidding.
No. All right. So we have part 1, which is all about Kris Jenner. Part 2, which is basically all about Kim. And then part 3, we go into Kylie.
I thought part 3 was dumb. They lightly touch on Kylie, but they focus a lot more on Caitlyn's transition, and they focus a lot on Black China, which to me was so strange to me because I'm like, if we're talking about the Kardashian dynasty and the Kardashian race fame, we don't really talk about Kendall. We don't talk about like Khloe and her tumultuous relationships. with
Mhm.
Lamar Odom. Like there are just so many important pieces of the Kardashian history that just we didn't talk about Kim's marriage to Chris Humphries. She was married
Yeah.
to him for 72 days.
Right.
That was major, and people
Right.
gave Kim so much crap for
Yeah.
that
And that
because they
went
thought it
over
was a
like
stunt.
they talked about that for like maybe 2 minutes.
Glossed
Yeah.
over. Like,
Which was that was one thing that I will say that I really made me kind of key in on them in the like while they were having their show and everything like that, even though I didn't like really dive into it. That was one thing that I was like, wait, what's going on here?
yeah, I agree. Um, and the Black China thing was also weird because they do talk about Rob Jr., Robert
Yeah.
Kardashian's son. They talk about him, but only in reference to the revenge porn case that Black
Yeah.
China had against them.
Right. Right.
But it's interesting that they failed to mention that Black China tried to sue the family multiple times and continued to lose multiple times. And her whole point was she felt like the Kardashians destroyed her career because they took
Yeah.
her show Rob and China off the air, which
Yeah.
you can't really have a show about Rob and China if Rob and China aren't together.
Right. Well, and it's so interesting because I feel like Kylie just from seeing like clips from the old show and everything like that, just feeling like she was always kind of the one that was a little overlooked.
Yeah.
And so to have, part one about her mom, part two about her sister, and then this part three, you could tell was supposed to be like Kylie was supposed to be the meat of the episode. But again, she's just kind of glossed over. But I will say that I think that just Kylie also is very smart, and she used the
Very
tools that
savvy.
she had to build her own little empire.
Yeah.
Not little. I can't say little. I mean, she is.
Kylie Cosmetics.
Yeah. I mean, good for her. And I'm gonna admit, I I was a little bit of a hater on Kylie, not even knowing anything about her. I just thought that she was so like she was oversaturating the market.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, why does everybody care so much about this girl? But kind of seeing this backstory and everything, and just how she's kind of seemed like the odd duck
Yeah.
in the family. And to now, I mean, good for her. She really just like created something for herself.
Yeah.
And they also talk a little bit about like one person that was supposed to be like the app developer or something like that for them.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she was like, I
Bitter.
feel like that's another thing. I felt like a lot of people in this documentary were bitter people that were trying to just talk trash on them.
Well, because that was the subtitle, right? Was from the people that know them
Yeah.
or knew them. And it's like really just all the people that are no longer friends with them that
Right.
wanted to trash them, with exception for Heather McDonald. Even though she was close to them and they did kind of cut her out,
Yeah.
I feel like she didn't trash them,
No,
and she could
no.
have. But I feel like part three also, there was a whole scandal with Kylie's success and her becoming the youngest made billionaire in Forbes. And then all of a sudden, Forbes later came out and they were like, oh, we think she falsified her tax documents. And like that was a whole scandal that maybe she wasn't really a billionaire. And so I'm like, how do we not even address any of that? Like, it's just weird what was left out of the documentary. And then we spent 30 minutes talking about Caitlyn's transition in part three.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like it was just a
Unnecessary.
Caitlyn special.
We get it. Caitlyn
Yeah.
came out. Good for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
This is about the Kardashians. Caitlyn's no longer part of the Kardashians. This is why I think Caitlyn had a hand in the documentary.
Wait, what?
This is why I think,
Right.
because it was like, let me tell my story. But it's
100%.
like, we know your story, girl.
And no, they barely talk about Kendall. Like you see like a few little snippets of when Kendall was like little, but they don't talk anything about like her modeling career or anything like that. Those were the three women that were framed in the 3 episodes, even though Kylie kind of got the shit end of the stick for that third one.
Yeah, thanks to Caitlyn and Black China.
Wait, what is this? Can we also talk about how this family hasn't cut Tristan off yet? It's so weird that the family can still have him around. Also, no stable romantic relationship for any of them, which is sad. And I think that, honestly, being in the limelight like that, I don't think that you're going to have smooth sailing in a romantic relationship. It's always going to be rocky waters.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead. I feel like you wanted to say something.
No, I mean, the Tristan thing, we kind of funny enough, get that in the new episode of the Kardashians this week as well, where he sits down with them and Courtney's kind of talking to Tristan about the fact that like Chloe is keeping him in her life, even though they're not together,
Mhm.
but you know, he's still around. And how Courtney's like, we just don't have good enough boundaries in our family that like when guys do something, like I understand wanting to keep them around, you know, for the sake of the family, but she's like, but we don't need to always overextend ourselves to
Mhm.
make sure that these men feel comfortable when they keep, you know,
Right.
burning us. And I feel like she was really talking about Scott, but that does get touched on in the new episode.
Kylie was a menace on Snapchat in her teens. Her personality was so cute. I feel sad that she is so quiet these days. Is she quiet? Or I get like maybe on her social media.
She used to have like a big, fun, bubbly personality on
Uh-huh.
social media, and now she doesn't. I feel like they've all kind of retreated.
Mhm.
They don't give as many interviews. They don't do as much social media because the press like picks everything apart, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know, they look for sound bites, and so I just feel like Kylie's gotten so much attention. Well, they talk about it in the documentary about the Kylie lip challenge, where people were blowing up their lips
Right.
because of Kylie and how her lips were
Wait,
unattainable.
did she actually start
No.
that? No. Okay. So
They started that online
Oh,
to
okay,
mock
so
them.
that's another thing, like, people are in the documentary, it seemed almost like they were trying to paint it as though she was the one encouraging people to do this, and listen, at the end of the day, of course, this girl got fillers. She's very upfront with that, and so this other the woman that was, like, the app developer, whatever she
Yeah.
was, trying to say that, "I feel like they created unrealistic expectations for, women and, like, how they would just need to use Kylie's lip product to get her lips." At the end of the day, we still have a responsibility as a consumer.
Yeah.
If we know that someone got lip filler, of course, unless we go to her doctor, we're not gonna get that exact
Well,
same look.
a bit of that controversy though was she didn't admit the lip filler up front. She said that
Mm,
it was makeup and she was just overlining her lips
mhm,
without admitting that she did get lip filler. Eventually she did come out and say, I
mhm.
actually do have lip filler. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm overlining them, but I also have gotten some filler to
Mhm.
make them a little more plump. Um, but to your point, I agree. I think as a consumer, we need to be aware of the fact that these are people with wealth. These are people with fame. So the things that they have access to are not going to be relatable to the average consumer. They're just
Right.
not. You know, they're going to have plastic surgeon doctors, or if they do get facials, they're going to be some of the top tier facials. And
Mhm.
they just have access to things that we're probably never going to have access to, or at least not as often or regular as they're, you know, able to get these treatments that are
Yeah.
helping to enhance their bodies, their faces, their skin, their hair, whatever. But
Right.
again, that's where we as a consumer have to put our thinking caps on and realize, okay, these are people with fame and wealth. They're going to have access to things that I just don't have access to. So I need to think that, like, yeah, of course, you know, them recommending a $14 moisturizer from CVS is not the only thing that is making
Right.
their skin enhanced.
Right. For sure.
So yeah. Do you want to take another?
Yeah. Let's see. And when they did come out about the lips or the other procedures, it's always, "I got it because I was insecure." So sad. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, that's also just her being very upfront and honest.
Yeah.
Like she was, "I have things that I'm insecure about." And shit, if I could afford to go get like a procedure to, take care of my love handles or something like that, I would do it in a second. But, I don't think it's right to hate on people if they have the means to go enhance something they want to
Yeah.
enhance, go do it. Don't go like if you don't have the means, don't go do some black market shit that's going to hurt
Yeah.
you. But don't hate on people who can do it for themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not hating on them for that.
I mean, I think people would just like them to be more open and transparent
Mhm.
about the procedures that they've had done, which I will agree with. But I feel like they're starting to do that more. They did a whole episode last season on the Kardashians where Kylie does talk about like the beauty standards and like, are we helping the conversation or are we hurting the
Mhm.
conversation? How do we talk about these things more? You know, that's why, like me, I'm very open and honest. Yes, I get Botox. Yes, I have
Mhm.
filler. My hair is not naturally blonde. I'm getting my teeth fixed right now. I just got LASIK. Like I'm very into enhancements and doing whatever makes you feel good about yourself.
Right.
Um, And I just, I like when people are very open and honest and transparent.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, for sure. What is this? Has any one of them confessed to getting BBLs? They don't admit to any work done. Let us know what you got done at least. I think that's why people get
Yeah,
offended.
I agree with that. Now, but I don't think they did get a BBL. I think and we've seen these procedures done on the show before. They do body sculpting. So that's why they have a really, really teeny tiny waist and then big hips and a big butt. And that's why they can say, well, we're technically natural because they're not getting fillers in their butt, but they are contouring and shaping their body through like cool sculpting or where they move the fat into a different part of the body. So it's still technically the fat that's in their body. It's just being repositioned and moved to a different part of their body. We've seen them do some of that, like the laser stuff on the show. But I agree. I wish they were more open and honest about these things because I don't think people really judge them for that.
Well, shit, what procedure they're getting that's moving fat into other areas of their body? Because I swear to God, I need some fat moved in my flat butt.
Okay, we'll work on it. Any other thoughts about part 3?
No, that was pretty much it. I just, I wish it would have been more Kylie focused because that was what it was being framed as. I've seen enough of Caitlyn Jenner to last me a lifetime. And I barely remember the Black China part of it.
I just was annoyed that that's what they chose to focus on, which is why I agreed that it felt very much like a hit piece because they focused on the revenge porn piece of it without touching on so many other elements of Rob and Black China or Black China and the Kardashians that,
Yeah.
I wished everyone's talking about the fat repositioning.
Yeah.
It's a thing that people are doing.
Let's all do a field trip. We'll all go get some fat
Air
reposition.
Sculpt 360. Jenny just had that done.
What is
Jenny McCarthy?
What's Air Sculpt 360?
Where they moved the fat and like she
Oh,
just
is that
had
what that is?
Yeah, she just had like fat put into her hands because when people get older, they get really wrinkly hands, and so her hands look great, her tummy looks great, like she looks great.
Listen, I met her in person, and holy balls, that woman is stunning. She looks like she's 20 years old.
Yeah, she's incredible. Love her.
And I'm not just saying that because that's one of your friends. Like, truly, one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen in person.
Yes, and like still kind of looks natural. Like obviously she looks perfect. So being 51 or 50, now it's like she looks great.
Yeah, God, yeah, it doesn't look like she's had work done. She just looks naturally perfect.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all I got. Y'all have anything else?
Let Josh know what other shows you recommend to watch and review. And
yes,
recap.
Yes, please. I do want to, because I tend to get caught in my own little hovel and like watching the same things over and over and over again.
Why don't
because I have extreme anxiety, and I heard that people with anxiety like to rewatch shows because we know exactly how it's going to turn out. Why don't we do what?
Why don't we recap more Kardashians?
I think we should. Yeah,
we'll take some of the
I think
bits. We're obviously not going to watch episode 1 through season 20, but like we'll
I don't
take.
think I can do that.
I know all the shows. I know all the episodes. So we'll take we saw the wedding special. We saw the Bruce special. I don't know if you want to recap either of them. I feel like we kind of touched on them.
Yeah.
Maybe see, they want you to do more Kardashians.
Okay. Definitely will.
End Up wants you to do Nola. Oh, Southern
I
Charm
want
Nola.
to do, but it's like, do enough people like know about Southern Charm New Orleans? I mean, I'm so sad that it was taken off the air, but I would love to watch that. If people want to rewatch it with me and we can talk about it, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, we'll have a watch party.
Yeah, are we allowed to do watch parties?
Well, we'll watch it and then recap
we'll
it. This
give
is
each other
a watch party. This is our watch party.
Yeah, we'll do we'll give y'all assignments on which episodes to watch so we can recap them.
Well, why don't we do, I don't know, you guys, which Kardashians should we did?
Yes,
Chloe's
please tell us.
special.
Yes, tell us down in the comments what are like the good meaty episodes that you feel like I need to go back and watch to give an account of, because listen,
Well-
it would take me forever to get through 20 seasons of this show. And so I really want to know like the good and the bad, like just the really like meaty episodes that you think anybody should watch regardless of whether they're a Kardashian fan or not.
I think we'll do a season 1 recap. We'll watch some of the like best parts of season 1, but you need like the don't be fucking rude fight
Yes,
between
yes.
them. Like all
Yeah.
those iconic moments, we'll go back and watch those and do a recap.
Okay. Christopher Liverman said
Oh.
recap more documentaries.
I like that idea too. When Scott lost his shit in Miami. Oof, that was a good one. That was Courtney and Chloe Take Miami season 1. Oh,
Was that when he?
Oh.
I remember an episode or a scene where like he was shoving money in a server's mouth or something like that.
yes.
He was
So
unhinged.
Scott
though,
was
the
a
whole
whole
time.
debacle. Yes, and Courtney ultimately ended up breaking up with Scott because he wouldn't stop drinking.
Mhm.
And he still didn't stop drinking and doing drugs, and so that's why she's not with him and she married
Yeah.
Travis. But the one where Kim lost her earring, yes, Kim.
Oh.
There are people that are.
Yeah. Oh my god! I was just about to say that. That's one line that I actually know for sure.
So that's what we'll do. We'll do the next one will be focused on Chris Humphries. We'll watch the wedding special and then some of those iconic moments, episodes with Chris Humphries.
Oh, Mallory, I will tell you, I just watched this one today. Actually, that was an interesting one, to be honest with you. I won't do a full recap right now, but like that, it was so heavily focused on Chloe's DUI, but also so heavily focused on the passing of their dad. I thought it was weird.
And convenient
yeah.
reshaping of the narrative. That's the Kardashians are good at. That's how they're able to stay relevant, is because they have the show and they're able to share their side of things.
Yeah.
I wonder if those dates add up. Like if we actually look at Chloe's arrest date and Robert's passing, if that timeline, I feel like back then there was like an issue if people didn't really believe the timeline.
Wait, what do you mean?
That like, because they made it seem like Chloe was drinking and driving because she was mourning the loss of her dad, and it was his anniversary of his passing.
Right.
And I wonder if the timing,
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. N-Dub, I got to chat with you about this real quick. When Kylie and Kendall are swinging on the stripper pole, that part of that
Episode 1.
episode where that it was Brody's friend that like came in and started filming them, I thought that was so disgusting. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
No.
They were mimicking Girls Gone Wild,
Yes.
which is
yes.
what Joe
yes.
Francis started.
Yeah. No, I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, Bruce was not a fan of that either.
I guess not.
I mean, I would think being his daughters, he would
Yeah.
definitely not be a fan of that. I'm sure he's proud now. She's proud now. But yeah, so many good ones. That glorious moment in season 1, episode 1. Yeah.
Wait, what's the one where Chris said it's so sick and twisted, all dramatic? Like, what is that? I don't know. I guess you're gonna have to drop in the comments what episode that is, what season, what episode.
I don't know if that's an actual episode because Mallory doesn't remember this either. And Mallory's a pretty good Kardashians fan. So, fun catching y'all live. Also, how would it pertain to a copy of House of Hilton?
What is that?
House of Hilton is the book about Big Kathy and the upbringing of the sisters. I don't know if Josh would be comfortable doing that because that one is whew.
No, sorry.
We should do more Netflix documentaries though.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
Okay.
All right. Any final thoughts? That was almost a jinx.
I know. Todd Cranes. Auntie Chris, it's Todd Cranes. See, 20 seasons plus these 4 new seasons on Hulu. Like on all the spinoffs, we have the Courtney and Chloe Take Miami, Courtney and Kim Take New York. Like just so many. Chloe and Lamar, Rob and China.
All right. Well,
so much history.
Keep dropping suggestions down in the comments. But
it's a joke that Scott would do to prank Chris. Any Kardashian fan knows Todd Cranes.
Oh my God.
All
right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me on my first live. And thank you, Zach, for being here. I always love having you over, even though you sometimes give me many heart attacks.
Good at that.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much again, and like and subscribe. Apparently, that's a thing that you're supposed to say.
Like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with what episodes you want Josh to watch to recap. And and then we also do Real Houses of Salt Lake City recaps on Wednesdays. So you can tune into those on my YouTube channel every Wednesday.
Yep.
But subscribe so you know when Josh is live, because we never know.
Well, now it'll be more regular now that I ripped that Band-Aid off.
Yep.
All right, guys. Love
He
you
took
all
some
so much.
fiber, and now he'll be more regular.
Oh my God. All right, we're gonna go now. Love y'all. Bye.